the Right Side Network, where we bring you the right news for the new right. I'm Jim Hoel, and welcome to the Hoel Report. Thank you and good evening. We have a lot to go over. It was a busy weekend in the news world, so we have a lot to talk about tonight. We certainly have a lot to get to tonight. Talk about a weekend for news. Bombshell allegations over the weekend. Really serious stuff. This is not something to play around with. This is a serious accusation. Donald Trump over the weekend accused President Obama of ordering a wiretap into Trump Tower and into his conversations during the 2016 campaign. Now, President Trump isn't exactly correct when he phrases it this way. I don't know that President Obama ever actually ordered any wiretap. However, when you look at the evidence in this and you really read through and study it, these accusations are founded. This isn't a conspiracy theory. These accusations are actually founded. There is evidence to support what Donald Trump is saying. There's evidence out there supporting his claim that he and his campaign was wiretapped and investigated during the run-up to the 2016 election. Now, accusations like this, it's a bombshell. It's unheard of. This is Watergate type stuff. Illegally wiretapping campaigns and investigating campaign officials. What kind of nonsense is this in the United States of America, folks? I mean, let me tell you what. This is BS. This right here is BS. It's ridiculous that an allegation like this can even be made. Folks, let me tell you. What if in 2008 it was revealed that the McCain campaign or the Bush administration, let's say the Bush administration, ordered wiretaps in the Obama campaign, and that was revealed? There would be a firestorm. I mean, the heads would roll. It would be a national outrage. I mean, it would be a story that has never been heard of before. Now let's talk about what Donald Trump means when he says this. There have been stories, and this is all out there. This is all in the news. I mean, this has been reported on. The New York Times, the BBC, British publications, New York Times, Washington Post, the Huffington Post. These are, by the way, these are all not right-leaning institutions by any stretch of the imagination. These are all leftist, very, very left publications. And let me tell you, these are serious accusations. These accusations are something that really need to be investigated and really need to be taken seriously. These need to be taken seriously, folks. What in the world is going on? I mean, what is going on? New York Times stories, leaks, intelligence gathering in the Trump campaign in the lead up to the election. What was going on? Who knew what and when? Did President Obama know that his administration ordered a wiretap into the Trump campaign? Did he know it? Well, we need to figure it out. I am sick and tired of this campaign and this president being cut off and being just criticized and all the time. And the media, by the liberal mainstream media and by all of them, I'm sick and tired of them trying to sabotage this presidency. They sit around and joke about this tweet like it's nothing. like it's made up out of thin air when there is actual evidence supporting this claim, not proving. There's no evidence proving it, but there's accusations supporting it. Now, what was going on? Well, these serious accusations. Mark Levin, a wonderful voice of the right, did an excellent report on this. And he explained this in great detail. And if you haven't seen it, I would definitely watch it because he explains in great detail. I'm going to get into some of it. But Mark Levin of the Levin Network did an extraordinary report on this earlier. And we're going to get into some of that. He explained this in great detail. Over the weekend, General James Clapper, the former head of the NSA, denied any knowledge of any warrants to wiretap the Trump campaign. Denied any knowledge of it. Said it never happened. Said no. This is a conspiracy theory. Nothing happened. I deny any knowledge. Well, let's look at the facts. The New York Times reported that in the months of June and July of 2016, there were 2 FISA warrants that were denied by judges to wiretap and to conduct surveillance into the Trump campaign. Now, why was that not brought up? Well, for those of you who don't know, in order to supposedly, in order to conduct surveillance on an American citizen, a FISA court has to approve a warrant in order to wiretap or conduct surveillance. It's a secret court that meets in secret, and a federal attorney goes in and asks for a warrant, and it's either approved or denied by the FISA court, which we don't, it's all top secret. They don't release any of it. We don't know what evidence they would have had, or any, if they even had any evidence, which really most of these things are approved. So for them to have denied those, they must not have had much evidence at all. However, the New York Times on January 20th reported that one FISA court warrant was approved in October. That is that is all that was mentioned about it. Other outlets have reported the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA, all in an expanded effort to investigate the Trump campaign. Like I said, January 20th, they reported on this. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Department of Treasury's tax department, the IRS, all of them. I mean, this is a major investigation going on that nobody ever knew about. And this was reported on January 20th. That wiretap data, in January 20th, the New York Times reported that wiretapped data, and an inquiry of Trump aides. So how'd they get that information? Wiretap data of Trump aides. How'd they get it? Well, obviously the FISA court approved it. If what the New York Times, which, to be honest, doesn't actually have a stellar record on their reporting, but however, this is a very left-leaning organization to report something like this. I mean, I would like to see the evidence of it, but this all comes from a lot of sources that are sources that are private. A lot of off-the-record conversations probably took place. So, I mean, who knows what kind of evidence they have they have to report on something like this, but let me repeat this, because this is important, folks. January 20th, the New York Times reported that wiretapped data was used in an inquiry of Trump aides in the run-up to the 2016 election. It's all out there. It's all out there, folks. I mean, I don't know how to really explain it better, but this is really not a conspiracy. This wouldn't surprise me at all if this is true. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. I mean, this is a man. Donald Trump is a man who, first of all, from the very beginning, was counted out. Never had any faith in him. He was never going to run. Then he was never going to win the primary. Then he was never going to win the presidency. And now what? There were people that were so dedicated to his defeat that when he won the election, they never got over it. They're still not over it. They will do anything in their power to bring down this man and his presidency. And my God, folks, this is un-American. This is a duly elected president of the United States. Duly elected by the American people. And you got guys running around in black ops and covert conspiracy theories that are trying to bring down his campaign. And this is not a conspiracy theory. This has been reported on. The New York Times. The paper that was dedicated to his defeat, that was admitted by their editor-in-chief, that their sole purpose of reporting on him was to bring him down. This was all on the record. They released a letter after he won, apologizing to the American people for their, I guess it wasn't really an apology. It was just a bunch of BS. But the New York Times released a letter, in some ways apologizing to its readers for its unfair coverage of Donald Trump and promising that they would do better. Well, that promise was broken from day one. They're still not reporting fairly. I mean, if you look at the crap they put out on a daily basis, it's all BS. And our network calls BS when it sees BS. And this is BS. We got some sort of covert operation to spy on a presidential candidate of the United States. That whether or not Donald Trump's phone or whatever, the Trump Tower, was actually wiretapped is beyond the point. The point is that this campaign was investigated by. Let's see. Let me go through that again. Hold on, folks. I got it right here in my notes. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the IRS, the Department of Treasury's whatever investigative committee. They in an expanded investigation using wiretapped data into the Trump campaign. Wiretapped data. Reported on January 20th by the New York Times. So, I mean, it's all out there. You can believe what you want to believe. If you're going to be partisan about it, if you're going to be a left, if you're going to lean liberal and believe everything that CNN and MSNBC and all the fake news tells you, then you're going to believe that this is nonsense. But we're here to report the truth. It's like the X-Files. It's kind of funny. I mean, I don't mean to sound conspiratorial. We're not that kind of network. We don't go into, real conspiracy theory stuff like 9/11 was planned by the guys. We don't get into that. But there are things that are called conspiracy theories that really aren't. And this is one of them. This is clearly one of them. When you have the kind of evidence that's out there about this, spying on... They spied on Paul Manafort, who at the time was the Trump campaign chairman. You have the federal government, headed by Barack Obama's president, ordering whether or not he ordered it is irrelevant. It's his administration. He runs his administration. He knows what goes on. It's in his daily briefings. The happenings, all of it, any espionage, all of it is in his daily. All of it was in President Obama's daily briefings. So he had to have known. He had to have known that the chairman at the time of the Trump campaign was under covert surveillance for God knows what, apparently ties to... He did work in Ukraine years ago, so they think that somehow he has ties to Russia. And which, by the way, he resigned from the campaign due to this investigation. You know, he knew what was going on, folks. I mean, it's pretty easy to tell. I mean, you know, it is clearly within the realm of possibility that this is true and that this happened. There's evidence that it's out there in reporting. You know, it's funny how CNN and MSNBC and all of them, they're not reporting on this aspect. They're all reporting and laughing at his tweet, calling it nonsense and a conspiracy theory and an outrage, and how dare you accuse President Obama of doing something like this. Well, President Obama did this many times. Now, it may not have been presidential candidates, no. But if you really are not awakened enough to know that the federal government does indeed spy on American citizens on a daily basis, then there's no hope for you. You need to wake up. And I mean that sincerely. I mean that very sincerely. Excuse me. A little laryngitis over the weekend. But if you're naive enough to believe that the federal government doesn't spy on its citizens in a post 9/11 world, then you need to wake up. And let me tell you something. The NSA, 33 Thomas Street in New York. Why do I mention that address? Well, 33 Thomas Street in New York, and I have relatives and friends that live in New York. Maybe you know the building, maybe you don't. I don't know. If you've ever been on Thomas Street, I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar with New York. I visit there. I love the city. I love its people. But I'm not too familiar with this location, which is a lot of Americans aren't. It's covert ops. I mean, technically it's a building that hides in plain sight. It was nicknamed Project X, and everything I'm telling you is true. It's all up there. It's all public record. It's all true. I'm not making it up. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's all true. 33 Thomas Street, New York City. Project X. It was a building designed. It was designed top secret in conjunction with the federal government and the NSA. It has 29 floors. It has no windows. It's able to withstand an atomic blast. So you talk about, this is really one of the most heavily guarded and protected buildings in the United States that nobody really even knows about. It's one of the most fortified buildings ever built. And it's in New York City, and it's in plain sight, and not a lot of people knows what its purpose is. Well, its purpose is it's the top NSA surveillance site in the United States. Heavily fortified building, 29 stories with no windows, and it's able to withstand an atomic blast, meaning that it would survive a nuclear holocaust. It's not designed to protect citizens. It's designed to protect government infrastructure and mainframes. All run by the NSA, all in conjunction with the NSA and its top surveillance site in the United States, along with its one in Utah. And you don't believe that the NSA spies on American citizens on a daily basis. Why is all this secret, then? Why wouldn't the government just come out and say what the hell it is? You know, in the report I read, they called up there for an interview, and they were told that all of it was top secret, and that no interviews will be given. There will be no questions answered. There will be no interviews. There will be none of it. It's all top secret. You can't go in there. Only people with top access in the United States, the highest clearance in the United States, has access to the information in that building. Now, President Trump does now. And maybe he saw something that, hey, looks like they wiretapped Trump Tower. What the hell? I mean, what's going on here? He has access to all that information. the question remains, is the United States monitoring the conversations and emails and phone calls of American citizens? Well, it does. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, there's proof of it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying they did. It wouldn't be surprised if they've monitored one of my emails or something like that. They have they have an entire complex in Utah with mainframe after mainframe after mainframe after mainframe. Once again, all heavily fortified. Once again, all can withstand a nuclear blast. And it all holds all the data that the NSA needs to spy on people. This all started with the United States Patriot Act. Now the Patriot Act. Wonderful name. Patriots. We're all patriots. Patriot Act, sign it. American people love it. It's great. It was great in the beginning. It gave the president more powers to monitor terrorist threats in the United States. But then shortly thereafter, they turned towards American citizens. It's been proven. Frontline, which is a show that may not be very conservative leaning, but I do enjoy watching it. Frontline did a whole report, a two-part episode on this, all on the NSA and all on its spying on American citizens, and all on whistleblowing and Ed Snowden. I mean, it's been proven that the United States spies on its citizens, and you don't think that it's possible that the President of the United States at the time, Barack Obama, ordered espionage into the Trump campaign? Okay. Well, I believe it's possible. I certainly do. I don't think this is by a conspiracy theory by any stretch of the means. I mean, when it's been proven time and again that they spy on Americans, I mean, it's unclear what exactly is going on. But let me tell you, folks, it's dangerous. This is a dangerous game. It threatens the sovereignty of the United States. It threatens the sovereignty of the United States, and it threatens our freedoms as Americans, and it's unconstitutional. What they're doing is unconstitutional. We have First Amendment rights. First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment. You talk about at the time that this was going on. The now FBI Director James Comey was the Deputy Attorney General, and at the time, every 30 days, the President had to sign a reauthorization of the Patriot Act's NSA spying. And James Comey, an interesting man, a complex character, someone I would love to talk to. I don't know if I'd ever get the chance, but I'd love to talk to him. I'm sure a lot of it would have to be off the record, and so this is all a dream. But James Comey at the time, the Attorney General was John Ashcroft. He got very ill with pancreatitis, which is very painful, by the way. I have had it before. He was in the hospital, and he could not act as the Attorney General. James Comey looked at the executive order, the NSA executive order to spy on people, and he said no. It took the Deputy Attorney General of the United States to look at this and say, hey, this is unconstitutional. You're spying on American citizens. You are spying on the telecommunications of American citizens. This is unconstitutional. Do not sign this. So we had a crisis that really nobody knew about going on in the Justice Department. This was during the Bush administration, during the Patriot Act's first couple of years. I believe it was 2004 that this happened. So, yeah, the first couple of years of the Patriot Act. President Bush was in a re-election year. He was unaware of this, but there was going to be a mass resignation in the Justice Department if this order was signed. James Comey goes and meets with the president. Says, hey, this executive order you guys have been running for the last, 15 months, it's unconstitutional. and I refuse to sign it. And the presidential the president's counsel, by the way, oh shit, god damn it. Hold on, folks. We have a problem here. And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. Technical difficulties here. We are having some weather in the area. Anyway, we're back. Anyway, like I was saying, it's unclear what exactly is going on, but it is dangerous, and there needs to be congressional investigations into this. This needs to be taken seriously, and most of all, it's like I said, if you really don't believe that the government has the capability to spy on you whenever they want, they have warehouses dedicated to this, then you need to wake up to the reality of what's going on in the United States. It's really unclear, but the fact remains that there is proof of this, and that it indeed is possible that this very well could have happened. So it's unclear, but it's dangerous. Now, in other news, President Trump unveiled his new travel ban today. He signed an executive order issuing a new travel ban. The mainstream media and the liberals are already up in arms. They're already recycling the old, it's racist, it's a Muslim ban, whatever they want to call it. CNN could call it a Muslim ban all they want. It's not a Muslim ban. Some changes were made that needed to be made, in my opinion. Iraq was taken off the list. That's interesting. Apparently, they have agreed to the United States' strict enforcement of immigration, and they agree that they need to be thoroughly vetted. So Iraq was taken off the list. And this is all that the Trump administration is asking these countries to do. Is to what the Trump administration is asking these countries to do is to upgrade their vetting standards, so we don't have like what we have in Europe. See, we're trying to prevent what's going on in Europe to come to the United States, because we've had a lesson. Really a civics lesson in what goes on when you have basically open borders. And Europe right now pretty much has open borders. There's really not a whole lot that they can do to restrict the movement of people who are coming into the United States. However, it does green card holders are exempted. So if you're a citizen of this country, you can come in. That change needs to be made, because that's a different story. That should be allowed. And Iraq was exempted from the list due to their willingness to cooperate with the United States on tough vetting, which is really all this is about. It's all about is tough vetting, people. I mean, we don't want ISIS infiltrating the refuge. Hillary Clinton even said in a secret speech behind closed doors, in which she was paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, that yes, of course, that ISIS can infiltrate with the refugees. And we've seen it. We've seen it time and time again in Europe, Germany mainly, Germany, France, the countries that accepted all these refugees with open arms, without any vetting or any kind of system that vets them. They just let them all in, and now we see what happens. You got people getting in dump trucks and plowing through 70 and 80 people, killing them all. You got terrorist cells popping up all over Europe. I mean, that's what we're trying to prevent. We said no to this when we elected Donald Trump. We said no. We're not going to have this craziness that goes on in Europe over here. That's outrageous. So, their new travel ban was signed. The liberals are all up in arms again. There will probably be lawsuits. However, this time, this one's more ironclad. So for a court to turn this down, they're going to have to really, really prove that it's unconstitutional. In my opinion, this one is not. So I would expect this one to stand. The changes that need to be made were made. So we'll see. We'll see what goes on there. I mean, it's certainly something that needs to be done. It's a temporary ban on the countries that, mainly the Obama administration, came out and said that these are countries that support terrorism and fund it. So, I mean, what you want? Well, I mean, what do you want? Do you want what's going on in Europe right now, or do you want sovereignty? Do you want tough borders, and do you want heavy vetting of potentially dangerous people who don't share our ideology? By the way, I know everybody says that this is a big insult to Muslims, and this is a Muslim ban, which it's not a Muslim ban. It has nothing to do with the religion of Islam. It's not a Muslim ban at all. Okay. However, that being said, Islam. There are a section of Islam that really their main purpose is to destroy the Western world. They hate the West, they see it as evil, and they want nothing more than to destroy it. So, anyway, we'll see how that holds up. I'm sure there will be court battles over it, but we're going to see. In other news, new Obamacare info. The House Republicans have released somewhat of a proposal. There's not much information here yet. However, they have a working proposal. Some of the information is tax subsidies are now based on age instead of income, so that's interesting. There is no change to pre-existing conditions or parental age, so you can stay on your parents' health insurance till you're 26, and they can't insurance companies can't reject you for pre-existing conditions. That's great. That's what needs to happen in order for this to really gain support. You can't go back to the old way. The Republicans in the Trump administration are figuring out that this is a tough law to fix. Mainly because they passed it without even knowing what was in it. I mean, my God, there is death panels in this law. I mean, if you read it clearly, they've never. I don't think they've ever been enacted, but there is a clause in this law that there can be death panels. To decide, oh well, grandma's too sick, so we're not going to insure her, but we'll insure this other lady. There's stuff in that law that's like that. I mean, if you read it. But the problem is, it's over like 1,000 pages long. You can't read the whole thing. I mean, I've never read the whole thing. I've read excerpts. I don't think anybody's ever read. I don't think President Obama ever read the whole thing. I mean, to be honest with you. I mean, how in the hell do you pass a law without even knowing what's in it? Nancy Pelosi, probably the worst speaker ever that the House ever had it was the stupidest thing you could ever say. We have to pass the bill so we can find out what is in it. It's not how it works. You don't do that. I mean, that's once again, that's BS. You don't pass a law to find out what's in it. You know what's in the law before you pass it. Otherwise, you get this mess. I mean, look at this. It's outrageous. You can't. There's really not a way to repeal it without affecting millions of Americans. So we have to make subtle changes and try to fix it. Well, that's what we're going to try to do. So we'll see what happens. The proposal. This is the first proposal. I don't know what the final one's going to look like. There's not full partisan support for this yet. Some senators and congressmen have come out and said that this is not strong enough. So It's going to be a battle, folks. This is going to be a battle like anything else in the Trump administration is going to be a battle. But the problem is, the Democratic Party is in a state of delusion. They seem to not know that the 2016 elections have taken place, and that they in fact have lost everything. And I mean that sincerely. They have lost everything, and they haven't realized that yet. Now they're trying to hold on to power as long as they can. They're trying to hold off these nominations, keeping Obama officials in positions where they can release and leak information to embarrass the president, do illegal acts that are unconstitutional and treasonous acts, releasing confidential information to the press, top secret information, phone calls to foreign leaders, released to the press. I don't understand what kind of democracy. I don't understand what kind of democracy that does that. So we got a mess on our hands here, folks. I don't get it, but it's something that needs to be. Obamacare is a complicated problem that needs fixing, and it's going to be an uphill battle. It's not going to be easy. They're going to have to fight it out, and they're going to have to figure it out. Because Obamacare is a divisive issue. It's one that affects many Americans. It's one that, really the Obama administration screwed this up so bad and made this so partisan without a single Republican vote, mind you, in the House or the Senate. Did not have a single Republican vote. And this bill passed, and it became the most divisive issue of our time. So it's a complicated, as Donald Trump found out, and he needs to wake up to. He's doing a good job. I think he's really trying. I think he's doing his job, and it's about time we had a president that did his job. But he's waking up to how hard this is. It's not an easy job, folks. As he's finding out, there are people that are going to try to stab him in the back. There are people that are going to try to betray him. And there's already a movement by the folks in the Obama administration and others to try to force him out of office. I talk about impeachment and all this nonsense. For him to be impeached, it would take a large segment of the Republican Party. In fact, it would take the Republican Party to admit to it to activate any impeachment proceedings. And if they did that, if they even tried, they would have half the Republican Party in open revolt. Half of the Republican Party would be in open revolt if they tried something that stupid. So it's stupid, folks. If our government is in serious trouble, folks, and I mean that sincerely. This is stuff we've never seen, this is the likes of which we've never seen before. Partisanship is getting worse, not better. And it's really not Trump's fault either. By the way, he came into office. He pretty much came in, and you could talk about how he lost the popular vote. That's such BS. You could stack the vote in California pretty easily, by the way. His claim that 2 to 3 million people illegally voted, the numbers they're not that high, but it's still true. It's partly true. There may not have been millions, but I'm telling you the truth, there are probably thousands and thousands of illegal voters in California. Thousands. So you can try to stack the vote in California and stack the vote in New York like they did, which is, they had people busting people around, and it's true, it happens. Voter fraud in the United States happens. Look at Chicago. It's nothing new. Now, his claim that 2 to 3 million, I doubt that. But, he's just saying that to it's smart what he does. He makes these wild accusations, and then they think they're so wild that they go and investigate it, and it turns out that it's partially true. Maybe that's the way he does business. I don't know. But a lot of this isn't Trump's fault. He has been elected president of the United States. The Democrats have lost. All right, I'm speaking directly to you, liberals. You lost. I'm sorry. Okay, I know it sucks. We lost for 8 years. We lost. Well, kind of. We came back in 2010 and 2012. We came back in the House and the Senate, but we could not defeat Barack Obama. So essentially, we lost. And now you guys have lost really everything. And you deserved it. It looks like we have some power issues again, folks. I apologize. Hang on just a second. And we're back on the air. Again, I apologize, folks. We're having some weather-related issues here. But anyway, we're back on the air now. We have moved to another studio. We're in a temporary studio process here, so we're trying to get this thing going. But bear with us. But folks, our government is in serious trouble. Like I said, partisanship is getting worse, not better, and it's not Trump's fault. But it's up to us as American citizens to hold them accountable. Hold any of them accountable. When you see BS, you call BS. I mean, for God's sake, that's what our founding fathers would have wanted. When you see BS going on in our government, you call it. When I see BS, I call BS. And it's something that us as Americans, we really need to do. It's what our founding fathers would have wanted. Speaking of BS, for all my followers out there, I do have a personal note. A very dear family friend of mine lost his brother last week. It's very hard on him. It's hard on the family, his kids. Sudden heart attack, dropped dead. It was terrible. So a very dear family friend lost his brother last week. Now, the very week that the father and his brother died, an eviction notice was handed down to his kids. The week his father died. I think there's 3 of them. The week their father died, they were handed an eviction notice by the director, the property manager, Tammy Brown. So, if you would like, I would personally, as a favor, would like you to give her a call and express your thoughts on this matter. A very dear family friend. That's a family tragedy. His brother passes away suddenly of a massive heart attack. Leaves behind a family. Kids. 3. I'm not sure how many. 3 or 4. They got kids. And the very week that he dies, an eviction notice is handed down by the property manager. Now that's cold. And that's wrong, and that's BS. And when I see BS, I call BS. And this is BS, folks. So, I would like, as a personal favor, I'd like you to give her a call. I gave her a call. When I called for an interview, I was put on hold for 15 minutes and then hung up on twice. So there will be no interview with Tammy Brown, needless to say, but her number is 314-647-7368. If you'd like to, please give her a call and express your displeasure with her treatment of a grieving family who just lost their father. So give her a call. Like I said, I tried, put on hold for 15 minutes, and then hung up on twice. I tried to call back, I was hung up on twice. So there will be no interviews. I believe she was already interviewed by one of the local stations, but I don't know how that turned out. But this is a personal note. A very dear family friend lost his brother, and they're being evicted. The parent company is Maxon Properties, is owned by Deborah Maxon. I don't have her number available, but if somebody out there can find it, maybe you can give her a call too. We'll investigate. We'll have to look into that. We just got this over the weekend, but I would like to put it out there as a favor for a dear family friend who has helped us out through a lot of things. It's a tragedy. His brother dies and leaves behind a grieving family who is now being evicted from their home. So, like I said, what was her name again? Deborah something? Tammy Brown. Yeah, give Tammy Brown a call, 314-647-7368. And why don't you tell her how your feelings on how she's treating this family. To close here, like I said, our government's in trouble. It's getting worse, not better. And right now, it looks like we're looking at 4 years of war. And by war, I don't mean actual, hopefully not actual combat war, but political warfare. Crap like this, allegations of wiretapping and Obama accused, this whole Russian conspiracy theory that the Trump campaign was colluding with the Russians. It's all BS, folks. It's all BS. It's designed to distract you from the real problems that America is facing. It's designed to distract you from the fact that the Democrats lost everything in this election. And a mandate was handed down. Don't give me this BS about the popular vote. The popular vote, it's funny. Barack Obama actually lost the popular vote in the primary he ran against Hillary Clinton. So, if you want to go that way, then, Barack Obama should have never been president. Hillary won the popular vote in 2008. Look it up. She won. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in 2008 in the primary, and Barack Obama won the primary. So, if you want to go complain about that, that's fine. We can go that route, but it's a tit for tat thing. Bottom line, we need to start having some partisanship here, because it's getting worse, not better, and it needs to get better fast, or else we're going to be looking at 4 years of this. And we're going to keep fighting the good fight, and we're going to keep getting the word out. But bottom line is, if you see BS, you call BS on any government official or anyone in the government, and fight the good fight. Fight for the Constitution. Fight for your constitutional rights. Fight for your freedom as an American. Fight for your sovereignty as an American. Fight for your safety as an American. And fight for the right to be an American citizen. It's a real gift being born in the United States. It's a real gift. And if we're not careful, we're going to lose it. So keep fighting the good fight. And I sure as hell am, and I hope you do too. For the Right Side Network, where we bring you the right news for the new right, I'm Jim Hoel. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties we faced tonight, and we hope that you will stay tuned next time. For the Hoel Report, I'm Jim Hoel. Have a good evening.